Hi beautiful, it's Jayney Goddard here again and a very warm welcome to my channel. Now this week we're going to be talking about staying super healthy in winter. So that means avoiding coughs, colds and being generally resilient to all the stressors that the weather and the conditions of winter can throw at us. And so what I'd like to share with you today are my top adaptogenic herbs that will see us through winter so that we can be optimally healthy regardless of whatever the weather throws at us. And as always, everything I bring to you is fully researched. It's known to be safe and, above all, effective. And if you find these tips to be useful, it would mean the absolute world to me if you would subscribe to the channel, and also when you do, hit the little bell icon so that you can be notified when I upload more videos. All the herbs I'm talking to you about today come into the class of adaptogens, and they're very interesting and very unusual herbs insofar as they can help us to become more resilient to stressors by helping us to adapt to whatever comes along. Now the herbs I'm talking to you about today have all been in use for millennia, many thousands of years. Perhaps they would have been called tonics back in the day or rejuvenators. Nevertheless, they have been shown over the millennia to be incredibly safe and effective. Adaptogens can be thought of as being an elite class of herbal plants that are used in medicine. Now, the reason why they're thought of as being elite is because they have the strange ability to be able to change what they do when we take them into our bodies, when we ingest them. A good example of that might be where somebody might have high blood pressure, they would take a particular herb and it would lower their blood pressure to normal levels. Alternatively, somebody else may have low blood pressure and so they'd take the same herb and in that person it would raise the blood pressure to so-called normal levels. So they have this ability to adapt, and it's a very curious thing. Nobody really knows quite why plants evolved to actually have this ability, but it just seems that there are quite a few of them and we're discovering more all the time. But I'm going to bring you my top 5 today. But before we get started with that, there's always a little note of caution. As you know, I'm always cautious because I want to make sure you get absolutely the right information. So I want you to be very sure that if you are going to follow any of the tips in this video, and I really hope you do because these are genuinely useful plants, I want you to make sure that you check, if you buy a product, the name, the exact Latin name on the packaging so that you know that you're getting the right version, because there are a lot of very similarly named plants out there, but they don't all do the same thing. So let's start with Asian ginseng, also known as Panax ginseng. This is really one of the most popular ones. You'll have heard of it, no doubt. It's got a 5,000-year history of use. In fact, ginseng's Latin name, Panax, actually means panacea or cure-all because it is so incredibly useful in such a wide variety of conditions. Panax ginseng is used to improve cognitive function, immunity, sexual performance, the ability to sleep well, so much more, and it is really worth looking into it to actually figure out whether it's something that you might be able to use. On my website, I have an article about all of the things that Panax ginseng actually can work for, so do check that out and the link for that is below. Now, one word of caution I would just suggest with Panax ginseng is that it can be quite overly stimulating in some ways, which means that it can potentially cause a little bit of sleeplessness. So if that's the problem that you're suffering from, then the best thing to do is to try American ginseng, a close relative of Panax ginseng. American ginseng, or Panax cincifolius, or 5-leafed ginseng, was used historically by many Native American tribes, and particularly the Cherokee and the Iroquois, who used it as a tonic. American ginseng has been proven over the years to improve cognitive function. It also helps you if you find your mind races. I often find that if I've been working particularly hard, I just find that my mind churns and I actually find it quite difficult to sleep. So in that sort of situation, American ginseng is a good one to turn to because it relieves anxiety and has a really beautiful calming effect on the body. So if you've got a racing mind or you're having insomnia just temporarily, think about using some American ginseng. Now, Siberian ginseng has been used for millennia in China, and it has a particular affinity. In Chinese medicine, it's used for treating respiratory problems, upper respiratory tract infections and the like. It's also a fantastic stamina booster, so particularly useful for winter time, obviously, and helping to fend off opportunistic infections like coughs and colds and flu and so on. Now, it's also been used by Russian athletes extensively as a performance enhancer, but of course it's drug-free, so it does work and it's perfectly safe. So if you are an athlete and you're subject to drug tests, then this is a good option for you. But stay tuned, because I've got some more options like that as well. So what do you think? How about using any of the ginsengs? Do they appeal to you? What are your thoughts? I'd love to know. Leave me a note down below. Next, we're going to talk about the stress buster extraordinaire, ashwagandha. Now, the word in Indian means smell of the horse, which doesn't sound terribly appealing, really, does it? But actually the idea is it confers upon you the strength of a horse, a bit like when somebody says strong like bull. Well, in this case, it's strong as a horse. In research studies, ashwagandha has been proven to reduce stress by up to 44%. It also works on anxiety in the same sort of way. It's also an absolutely ideal herb to take if you're suffering from chronic inflammation. So for example, in my situation, I take it because I have rheumatoid arthritis, which is where your immune system attacks itself, causing runaway inflammation. It's just one of the strategies that I find incredibly useful. And in studies, ashwagandha has actually been shown to reduce the production of cortisol, which is a pro-inflammatory hormone, by up to 28%. I notice a real difference. So if you have any problems with arthritis or anything else that's related to inflammation, it is worth trying this herb. Ashwagandha is also a fantastic lifestyle herb, and all the studies show it can improve anxiety, depression, relieve insomnia, and it also improves productivity and helps you think more clearly. So it's an excellent herb if you're looking to enhance your overall quality of life. Finally, we come to Arctic root, also known as Rhodiola rosea. As the name suggests, it comes from the northern cold regions of the world. Rhodiola has, over the years, been used extensively by Scandinavian and Chinese medics. Over many millennia, in fact. It has a hugely long history of use. And it was a particularly favoured plant, favoured by the Vikings, because they found that it gave them extraordinary strength and stamina. Now that usage has also carried on into athletics. It is not a drug performance enhancer. In fact, it's completely natural, but it really does strengthen athletes and improves recovery. It is unparalleled in helping us to overcome fatigue and exhaustion, particularly if those have arisen through very, very long-term stressful situations. It is also known to help improve depression because it helps to transport serotonin precursors into the brain. Rhodiola is hugely useful when trying to quit caffeine because it gives you a natural buzz, but without any of that kind of caffeine high and then crash afterwards. So if you're trying to get off stimulants, particularly caffeine, rhodiola is a really good option for you. And last but not least, rhodiola is something I often prescribe to my patients if they are showing signs of adrenal fatigue, chronic fatigue or burnout. Any of those conditions, as you know, are just absolutely devastating, but rhodiola is a wonderful herb that supports people in recovery, and particularly by nurturing the adrenal glands. So what do you think? Are you going to try any of these adaptogenic herbs? I really hope you do. Now, always as a word of caution, just make sure that you don't have any allergies to any of these substances. As I said earlier, for a herb to be considered to be adaptogenic, one of the most important criteria is that it must be safe. But there's always a small, tiny chance, particularly in this day and age, that you may have an allergy to any of the components of the herb itself. So do check if there's any doubt at all. Obviously, it just makes complete sense, doesn't it? I would love to know if any of this has piqued your interest or your imagination, so do leave me some comments in the comments little box below. It would also, as I said earlier, mean the world to me if you would subscribe to my channel, share the videos if you think it could be of interest to your friends, and hit the little subscribe bell so that you know when I'm going to upload, or when I've uploaded, I should say, new videos. So goodbye for now, and I shall see you in the comments. Take care, all the best, bye.